Hello and welcome to another video from me, Steve. It's from Roundabout Hoovers, and today we're going to do another video. Now, in a break from my usual routine of doing demonstration videos, what I've decided to do is to start including a few stripping down videos as well, which is something that Hooverlux does on his channel, and Becco 1987 also does on his channel. So what I'm going to start with on stripping the cleaners is this. I don't know whether you can see it on the camera there, but it's right behind me. Now I do my work on my vacuums here on the kitchen, on the sideboard here, because I don't actually have a garage or fancy workshops or anything like that, so I do it all here. So what I'm going to do is to do a strip down to the motor on, let me just get the camera off here, on this Miele, which is a Miele. It's an S6000, and it's the what we call the S6 cat and dog. This is also the same machine as the C2 compact, I believe, which is what Miele currently offer in this particular style, which comes in the lower wattage motors. The only difference being really is that this one's a 2000 watt basically, but I would imagine the only difference is the name, which is called the C2 compact, and the motor wattage, which is obviously less than 2000 watts. So let's say you know, if your vacuum was a bit dirty inside, or you hadn't used the right bags in it, and you wanted to get the motor out so that you could have a clean round the motor and clean out underneath all the filters, what I'm going to do in this video is show you how to take the cleaner apart, and then on another video I'm going to actually do how to disassemble the what's it, the STB205 cat and dog floor head, which is the turbo brush. So if I put the camera up on the side here, and we'll make a start. Now, I've never done one of these on camera before, so I'm just going to have to set the camera up the best I can here, which will focus down on what I'm doing. Okay, I think that's just about right. Yes, I think we can just about see from there. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take the ancillary components off, which is going to be, we're going to take the hose off, take the floor head off, to simply leave the case. I'll put these to one side. Right, let me just check what you can see on the camera. Yes, that's pretty good actually. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get ourselves what we need, which is going to be, most Mieles would use a T20, and that's a Torx. So if I get my Torx bits down and we find my T20, which is that, and also I'm going to need, let me find it now, I shall likely need my extension as well, because I think some of the screws are fairly deep down inside the cleaner. So we've got the basically the Torx 20 and the long length extension. So first thing we want to do is lift the top up. Now the bag we can remove, which is in this cleaner an FJM bag, and I must stress as well, it's always very important to avoid any situation where your cleaner is going to get clogged up. Always use the FJM original red Miele, what we call high clean bags in the United Kingdom, because that's how they get supplied, and I believe in the United States they're air clean bags, so basically your high clean. Okay. Behind the bag you have the pre-motor filter, which is just inside here. So we'll take that out. I mean, that's a little bit grubby, but it's nothing too bad so far, because I have had this cleaner now for 5 years. Okay, and then on the top here we have our post-motor filter or exhaust filter. So we can just open the top up there, take the exhaust filter out, which should be fairly black if it's been well used. One of those filters is supplied in each pack of bags, so we lift our grill off like so, put that to one side. Now these are very, very, very simple machines to strip down, because on a Miele everything is very modular. Okay, and what I mean by that is, what you'll see when we start taking it to pieces is that large sections of it disassemble at a time. You're not having to take each component out. The components are all set together into what we call modules, or large parts of the cleaner. So in order to get to the screws to be able to take the machine apart, normally you have to take the lid off, and this machine's no exception. So in order to get the lid off, on some of them you have to pull them. This one here, it's a case of having to manipulate the hinges. So we will get our screwdriver underneath this tab here on the side and pop it up, and then the same on the other side, twist it round and then lift it so that you have it in this position, and then you'll grab hold of the one side, pull it out and then lift the lid off in its entirety. Okay, so that's fairly simple. It's a little bit more tricky to put it back on, to be quite honest, than to take it off. So we'll put that to one side. Right, from this point what we do is we've got one screw here, one screw here, one screw there, one here and one here. So I'm going to take all those out now, and it's a T20. One, two, three, four. Now the fifth one down here is actually fairly low down inside the cleaner, so this is where we're going to need our extension on. So right down inside, and then onto the top of the screw, which can be a little bit of a game in itself. There we go. Okay, so that's undone. Now there's two more here in the front. One, two. So again we need our normal length on for that one, because they're fairly easy to get down to. One. Two. Okay, now those don't want to come out. That one's actually dropped down inside the case there. That isn't a problem, because we can get that out in a bit. So now what we want to do is we want to take this back part off. And the way to do that is we've got one clip here and one clip here. So we need to release those two clips. So again, a screwdriver behind the clip. One, two. And then it should lift up. There we go, just like so. So when you're lifting it up, you're actually taking the floor head docker out with it as well. So that actually comes out as one complete module. So that's the electric circuit board and the potentiometer, which varies the speed, all come out as one unit. So then we can disconnect that with the connector there. Okay. So that is the speed control. That gives access to the on-off switch there. There's your potentiometer, which varies the speed, and again that's linked up to the knob on the back. Now some of these, the knob actually becomes very, very stiff to turn and stickly. Now what I would do there is just to stick a little tiny bit of grease under the back of each one of these here, and then turn it backwards and forwards to work the grease in, or a little bit of spray grease on there, not too much, just enough to loosen that up. See the way mine goes around nice and smoothly. Okay, and that gives you a nice smooth wheel. We'll remove that, put that to one side. Then we should be able to split our case. And sometimes this can be a little bit awkward. we might have to tip it on its side and give it a bit of a whack, like so. These can be a little bit fiddly. Little screwdriver in round the sides. There we go, and it's snapped open. So what we can do now, take our little connector, push it through the hole, make sure our little plug is slightly out of the end, and then we can lift the top cover off as such. Okay, at this point there, take your screws out as well. So that one will come out and that one will come out. And to make sure I've got no more screws lying around in here which are going to get lost. No, I believe that's all of them. Okay, that to one side. And then from this point, what we can see already on there, here's our motor and here's our cord reel. It is really that simple. That simple to get access to the motor in a Miele cylinder. Now, at this point, we can rescue our screw, which dropped down. And there you can see it's just lying inside there, and that incidentally is the that's the relief valve. So what happens basically is when there's an obstruction, the cleaner will suck the bypass air in through here, and there's the entrance to it just down here. There you can see there's a hole, and if there's an obstruction to the airflow, that will pull that relief valve from here, and it will start hissing through there. And that incidentally can be popped out very simply if you need to change it. So what we'll do, we'll just take that screw out of there, just like that. So there we go. Now what we can see is the motor. What we've got round the back is we've got the connector. So all we do is we pull our connector out. Let's just do it with one hand or not. Should be able to be. There we go, that just pulls out like so. I'll put the camera back on the top. And then, basically, lift. Well, what we do, there's one clamp here, so we lift the clamp, pull it backwards, and then you can lift the motor out. Just like so. It's that easy. And take our two rubbers off the back there, and we take the front rubber off the front, and that is your Miele motor. Now that can be changed out complete if you can afford a new one. If your motor's knackered, you would just basically have another motor in at this point. This is a 230 volts, what looks like a 410. It says Miele on there, but I think these are actually made for Miele by Domel, from what I've heard on other channels. Now the carbon brushes, one's here and one's here, but they are very inaccessible. To get to the carbons, you would need to take the fan case off, you'd need to take the fan off, and then you'd need to take out the part underneath the fan as well to get access to those. But Miele don't really want you dismantling these motors, so that basically is as far as you need to go with the motor. So if you'd have used a bad bag in here, sucked all crap through, at this stage your motor would be absolutely covered in crap, and you'd be able to hoover all that out and get it all cleaned up. To get the brush roll, sorry, not the brush roll, but brush rolls on the brain, to get the cord reel out is simply a case, I believe, of just pulling it out. Well, that's how they normally come anyway. Let me just have a look and make sure there's no tags or anything on here. Just have a quick look. Oh, I've had this out before, to be honest. I don't understand why it... there we go. You just lever it up from the back, basically. And then I think there's another one here which we have to free off as well. There we go. And the motor comes out like this. The cord reel comes out. So I believe this will part, yes, that comes off as well. I think what this is here, this is the pipe here which vacuums out the cord reel. Because it actually, there's a hole here which comes up there, goes through this duct here and down here into the cord reel. So I think it's either to vacuum out the cord reel, or it is to provide an airflow that comes through the cord reel, which would probably stop the cord from overheating if you didn't have the cord fully wound out when you were using the cleaner on maximum power. In other words, it would help to stop this cable from overheating if you didn't have it wound out. So basically you're always drawing some air through the here, down there, and then it comes through here, out of this hole, and into this, through this hole here, and into the bag housing. So I think that's what that's for there. So we can just put this back in. Yes, that does go down there. Come on. You know, well, I've done this several times before, and yet when I'm on the camera it always proves difficult. Isn't that always the way? It should go in nice and easily, this should. So that's going down, that will go in there, that goes down there, and that is supposed to clip on to these pegs on the side. There we go. That should go in nice and easily basically, and sometimes when you pull this out that doesn't come out with it anyway. But that basically is the cord reel assembly, and that again is what they call modular. So if it went faulty, Miele would expect you to buy a whole new complete cord reel. And we can see the mechanism on here. This is the stop mechanism, the brake in other words. So when you pull the cable out, this is the comfort rewind effectively. So what happens is when you press that button there, it rewinds the cord in. So there's like a special mechanism there, which once you press that once, it allows the cord to reel in, but when you then pull it back out again, it resets it. So we do that again, press the button, and then you see the cord snap in. Right, so there we go. That is how you would strip the Miele down. So what we'll do now is we'll put it all back together again. So we'll get the cord reel, and we would push it back in, making sure that this here, this hole, that ventilator there goes into that hole. Like so. Push it down. Make sure it's clicked in at the back, which it has. Then we get our motor, and we put the front rubber back on, and we make sure that it's the right way up. So you've got your accessible port here to plug your connector back in. We take the back of the housing off, put that back on, And then we can slide the motor back down, like so. So you're making sure that's clicked back into here, and that is secure against the front. And then we can put a clamp back in, and that's the motor back in. Then we can put now our, let me see, what do we put on next? The casing. So you basically put the casing up, offer your cable through, then offer the wiring loom and plug through the hole in the top. Then push it back down until it clicks, which it has. Okay, just test the core drill. Yeah, that's working. Right, then what we can do is we can put our, I think this dropped out of the back here. It's dropped, yes, it's dropped out the side, that piece there, so that goes in the side, just there. So let's connect up our controls, like so. That will then push in down this slot here till it clicks in, making sure that these lugs here are clicked under. Then we can put our screws back in, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 in the front here, which is 5. So turn it round. These can be a bit of a pain, so what we could do is use a pair of long nose pliers, grab hold of the screw, get the screw in the pliers and push it down into the hole. Same goes for the other side, because you don't want to be dropping it back down here again where that air relief valve is, the suction relief valve, because it's a pain to get it out without taking the top back off. So let's put it back down into the hole and do them up. One, 2, 3. If it struggles, it means you're trying to cross thread it, so wind it back out again and try again. If it still struggles, try a different screw. So we'll just try that one in there. And if it still struggles, just carry on winding it in. Right. I find that, you know, with the old hoovers, when you take a screw out and it feels quite easy to come out, quite often they can be really difficult to screw back in. Again, you've got to put a lot of force on the screwdriver. It always feels as if you're trying to cross thread the screw. Now this is the deep one down the deep hole again, so again we need our extension on. Okay. And that can be a pain in the arse as well. So what we could do is to put it into here first before we lower it down. Then get our screwdriver on top of the screw and then lower it down into the hole. There we go, that's it. So all the screws are back in. At this point now, what we want to do is we're going to put our top back on. So basically we need to put it in at a sort of angle. So what you've got is you've got this here, that's one of the hinges, that's the one on the other side. So you're going to engage this part here first on this side, which basically goes into this hole here. And you're going to be doing it at this sort of angle. So first of all we need to engage that into there and then get the other side in. So you pull it outwards and then push it in. Simple as that. Click, click, shut. And that's it. That's our top back on. So what we do, put our pre-motor filter in, like so. Put our exhaust filter back in, and put our bag back in. Close it down, get the plug out, plug it in, and test it. There we go. Just put it there. And that is how you disassemble and reassemble a Miele S6. Now that's all for this video. In the next one I'm going to put on there how to strip down a, let me get it now, basically this here is the turbo brush that comes with the S6 cat and dog. It's a very common turbo brush. It's the STB205, and once again these can get really manked up inside and dirty, so I'll be showing how to strip one of these down in the next video. So until then, I'll say bye bye for now.